I'm Elizabeth Warburton and welcome to Season 3 of Property Elevator. In Season 2, we saw many property professionals face the angels to try and secure that all-important funding for their property projects. And this year, we're back for more. Now, we've seen over the last year just how important it is to have your money working for you. With inflation rising and bank interest levels at their lowest in years, it's never been more important to put your money to good use. This is why so many people turn to property investing. It's not easy though. You often need both the finance and the knowledge to take that deal over the line. And that's where our angels fly down to help you. In this show, we give property professionals the chance to pitch their deals to our 5 seasoned property investors. Helen Chorley, John Howard, Paul Mahoney, Ranjan Bhattacharya and Nicholas Wallwork, or who we call our property investment angels. These developers have the chance to walk away with the backing of someone who can bring both the finance and experience to their deal. You're watching Property Elevator.
Hi, I'm John Howard. I've been a property developer and investor for 40 years, and during that time I've bought and sold in the region of 4,000 properties.
My name's Paul Mahoney. I'm a property investor. I also founded Nova Financial Group, which is a property investment advisory company.
My name's Helen Chorley. I'm a professional property investor. I'm also a co-founder of the Property Sisters UK community, supporting women and SME developers in the industry.
My name's Nicholas Wallwork. I'm an investor, developer and owner of propertyforum.com and the development brand Red Brick.
My name is Ranjan Bhattacharya. I'm a property entrepreneur, an investor and developer for the last 30 years.
I do love it. I think it's brilliant. I think it's a brilliant little site.
And I guess what you're talking about with your consultant is going in under permitted development instead of planning to get those 9.
How are you going to keep an eye on costs, basically? How are you going to keep them honest?
Do you know what cash you're actually looking for from us?
It's entirely up to you. You've got about a minute in which to decide what you'd like to do.
Welcome to episode 6. Let's see who our first pitch of the day is.
I'm pitching a plot of land in Dublin,
Right.
looking for 400,000 to build 2 houses and sell the 2 houses off.
Okay, amazing. And is there anybody in particular that you'd like this investment to go
No, any one of them. I know they're hugely experienced, so
Yeah, they
that's
are.
what I'm after more, I suppose. Yeah.
They always love a land deal as well, so hopefully you've got a good one there.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. What's your expected GDV of the project?
700,000.
Lovely. Okay, so nice healthy profit in
Yeah,
there.
a nice one. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, good luck. I'll have a little chat to you when you get out.
Yeah, happy days.
Thank you so much for, I believe, flying over from Dublin.
I
So,
got lost on the underground and everything. It was just crazy.
oh, don't worry about that. Please tell us a bit about yourself and a bit about the deal you've brought to us today.
Yeah, I'm Chris. I come from West Dublin. I'm a healthcare worker, and I'm looking to get involved in property because, you know, I have a 6-year-old son with autism, and I'm basically trying to build up a company that I can hand over to him when he's older, you know.
And tell us about the deal you brought to us today.
This is a site not far from where I live in Ballyfermot. It's had previously had planning permission, but that's since lapsed. And so we should have no problem getting planning permission again. Yeah, so I've had a builder look at the site. We priced it up for 2 houses. I have the figures here. It'll cost about 404,000. A lot of houses in this area were built in the 1950s, and they're selling for 300,000 at the minute. So an estate agent I was talking with, he said I could reasonably expect 350,000 for a brand new 3-bed house here in this area.
And is this your first deal?
This is my first deal, yeah.
Excellent.
So it's 2 houses you're putting on the site?
2 houses.
2 houses, yeah. It's a site for 2 houses, yeah.
2 semi-detached.
There's a site directly across the road from this where it was the exact same. They've built 2 houses in the garden.
And have they sold those houses?
Them houses are sold. Houses in this area don't last for very long.
Do you know what they sold for?
I don't know what they sold for. Yeah, now them houses have been sold a long time.
But your agent thinks 350 each.
He says 350 should be reasonable enough to expect for such an area. Yeah.
I like Dublin. My dad's from Dublin.
Yeah.
I'm Irish.
It's a good,
Got an Irish
that's
passport.
a good start.
Lovely.
On Australian, who's Irish. Work that one out. Yeah.
An Irishman with a
combination.
strange accent, yeah.
Depending on how you look at it. You've said on the front there, cash injection, for a deposit for bridging finance?
Yeah, so basically what I'm looking for is to use bridging finance, obviously, to buy, build and sell. But where I'm struggling is I don't have the money for the deposit, so that's where I was hoping when you use.
And so you've looked into finance. Are you able to get the finance yourself, or do you need somebody with experience to come in?
I definitely need someone with experience, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And what's the terms of the finance? Rough.
They were just quick phone calls I had with some of the lads that were
So
there.
about a 30% deposit,
I have to give
is
40%,
that?
yeah.
Of the 400,000 costs, do you know what cash you're actually looking for from us?
127.
127. Okay.
And what's the purchase price of the land?
80,000
Okay.
on nearest offer, so there's room for bargaining there, you know.
Do you think they'd offer take a subject to planning offer to get the planning back in?
I could certainly find out.
Yeah, has it been on the market long?
It's on the market a while now, yeah.
How long roughly?
About 6 months.
Really? So I think they'd be pretty keen for any offer, wouldn't
Yeah,
they?
I'd imagine so, yeah.
Okay.
But if that's the right price, why hasn't it been snapped up?
I'm not sure. I know
Seems too good to be true.
If
find the
something
catch.
hangs around like that, either there's a problem.
Is there anything
with
in the area?
planning, or the price is wrong.
Or it's over.
No,
overpriced. Okay.
Is there any problems like we can see a fence,
No, that's just the park there. There's a kids' playground in there, and there's an old graveyard in that park.
an old graveyard? Okay. How far is the graveyard from the site?
Oh, it's the other side of the park.
Okay, so you can't see it
It's
from
the
these.
dead
No.
centre,
Okay.
Nicholas.
Fine. Yeah, it is a
Boom.
graveyard plot.
That's one of Ranjan's jokes, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm blaming him for that one.
It's rubbing off, John. You're sitting
Your
next to
daughter
him.
won't be very impressed,
Well,
will she, with that?
Don't give up the
What's
day
the size
job,
of the
I'd
plot?
say.
Completely drawing a blank, sorry.
Don't worry, it's big enough for 2 semi-detached houses.
It definitely is, yeah.
The one thing would concern me slightly is the ground conditions, whether that's a problem, and that's why it hasn't been snapped up. Because I would have thought Dublin. I go to the south of Ireland quite a lot have done over the years. I know it relatively well, and of course the market in Southern Ireland is pretty hot at the moment, isn't it? It's all come back.
Massive demand, yeah.
So I'd be a little bit concerned about that. But on the face of it, we can only go on the face of it and what you've told us. And on the face of it, I think it looks an interesting deal.
Do you have any sort of? I'm not familiar with the Irish market, so some of the nuances there I'd need to make sure we get the best advice. But is there any sort of? In the UK, we have Section 106 payments. We have payments to the council for granting various planning applications. Is there anything?
You obviously have to pay for planning permission. It's exempt from property tax for the first year only. So if you're buying, building, selling, you don't have to worry about it.
No.
And it's exempt from stamp duty as well because it's a new build.
Planning permission is 5,000. Is that just for the planning fees to get it submitted, sort of thing?
Yeah, that's to the council.
Just the fee. Yeah, so that's all it is.
I mean,
That's good.
I have to say, I think what you've done figure-wise, and your appraisal's been very good. So, excellent. That's.
With the construction cost, where did that figure come from?
I was at the site with a builder.
Okay.
And I
So
quoted
one builder's quote for that.
And
that's
that
one
would,
builder's quote.
and that does sound about right, doesn't it? I mean,
Yeah, it does.
Doesn't
Yeah.
sound,
3-bed house.
Yeah.
doesn't
Two
doesn't
semis.
sound wrong. Ranjan, have you ever been to Ireland?
Is it on the tube?
It's not on the tube, and it is outside.
It's just north of Watford Gap.
It is outside the M25.
That
so
sounds
you
like
may
a
not-
Love Island contestant comment, doesn't it? Is it on the tube?
It is outside the M25.
Yes, no, I'm aware. I mean, listen, I think it's an interesting project. It's not for me. I'm not familiar with Ireland at all. The other thing I would always be concerned about with, because obviously if your footprint's UK, everything is in pounds, and you've got a currency risk dimension always. When,
Honestly, Ranjan,
it's
I
80
can't-
grand,
I can't
Ranjan.
believe you're saying that. The other thing
No,
is,
I'm just pointing it out.
but the bit that you should point out, and I should point out
Yeah,
to you
go
to
on.
remind you, and that is corporation tax is 13% in Ireland,
That's
the
a good
lowest in
point.
Europe.
Yeah.
So actually, if you have a company based in Southern Ireland and you're doing deals in Southern Ireland, that's why all the IBM and Google are in Dublin, is because of the tax situation.
You're absolutely correct. Never mind building this house. Have you considered
office.
building a corporate HQ there? I mean, if you can rejig the planning, there may be something in
Be a
there.
long tube ride.
Not
Chris,
for you, Ranjan?
Not for me,
In
I'm
the
afraid.
weaknesses, you've said every 10th house goes to the council. Can you just explain that?
Yeah, so because of the housing crisis in Ireland at the moment, there's builders who are building massive housing estates. So now they have to give up every 10th house.
Yeah,
to
social
the-
housing.
to the-
Right,
Yeah, social
okay.
housing, yeah.
So that is the Section 106, effectively.
Yeah,
isn't
but
it?
that doesn't
Won't
affect
apply
two
to
houses.
No.
Duplex. Yeah.
And in terms of the planning, I don't know how it works in Ireland. What are the time frames on that?
I think it's. I'm not
I think
sure
it's similar, Chris, to here.
It's very similar
In
to
my
here,
experience,
yeah,
it's pretty
yeah.
similar to here.
And they've relaxed the planning laws over there somewhat
Yeah,
because of the housing
they've
crisis.
relaxed them because they're such shorter housing, haven't they? So, and they've had a lot of people move to Ireland, and housing is a big problem, like it is in the UK. To be fair, in Ireland, it's very similar, I think, Chris.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
Who's selling the site? Is it the neighbouring property you can see on the right?
This house here, yeah.
Yeah, so it's their extended garden essentially.
Yeah, more or less, yeah. There's a lot of sites like this in Dublin, yeah.
Okay, so you'd leave a couple of metres and go all the way back to that tree in the background? Just trying to get
Yeah, it goes just beyond that tree. The
Beyond
tree
it,
is
okay,
in
yeah.
that property, yeah.
Do you plan to project manage it yourself?
I can, yeah.
But this is your first project.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the builder would pretty much, if they're
The
a
builder
main,
is gonna
if
build
they're a
from
main contractor.
Start to finish, ready for sale. Like.
Who would like to start first, offer-wise or non-offer-wise? Ranjan's not. He doesn't really know where it is in the country. He knows it. He now knows it's in Europe somewhere. So that's good.
Yes, go on.
He knows where Barbados is and places like that. I know that. Who would like to start? Paul, would you like to start? I mean, you have got
I like
Irish roots.
I've never done anything in Ireland, but I'd like to. I like the fact you've come over here to present to us.
Yeah, I love that.
You've jumped on a plane.
Love that.
Shows a bit of commitment, doesn't it?
Yep.
I think that's brilliant. And I'll offer you what you want. I'll give you the 127 grand. We'll explore the finance together. I might even be able to arrange the finance. I'm not sure. I've never done it in Ireland, but potentially could arrange it. And we'll split the profit.
Brilliant.
Fantastic.
Thanks very much.
This would be my cup of tea. I'm doing something very similar, a little infill plot over in East London at the moment.
So make an offer then.
Well, but I would only be interested in it on a subject to planning basis.
I think that's what.
I think
that's.
Doesn't go ahead without that.
No, I think that's taken as standard, isn't it, Chris? You want to buy it or at least have a very you need it.
You need, you haven't put any money in without planning, yeah.
The 80,000 again, because I don't know the market, I don't know if that's appropriately priced. What kind of conversations have you had around that
I was
price?
talking to an estate agent, and sites like this would go for between 80 and 90,000, yeah.
Right, but that's an estate agent saying that.
Yeah.
Okay, and if you've got anything else to compare it to, an estate agent's going to talk their own book.
I know, but I have seen sites like this selling for that, you know.
And I think as long as you can narrow down the build cost
Helen's
before...
sounding like a banker, isn't she?
If you narrow down the build cost before exchange, you can check the comparables of what it'll sell for. It doesn't matter what you're buying it for, as long as it makes the profit level we're saying, thereabouts.
Yeah, these sites come up fairly regular and they do sell for that price.
Mm-hmm. And are you committed to building this out, or would you consider kind of flipping it on once you've got the permission rather than building it out?
I was thinking of obviously building it out and selling it off, get the money in for a future deal then.
And what time frame have you allowed for the build?
It'll probably take about 4 months.
I think that's a bit ambitious, Chris.
That's very ambitious.
I would allow
9.
Yeah, 6 to 9. I on a small even a small deal like this, I'd always allow 18 months
Really?
to build it, to get to. You're not going to start building it as soon as you buy it. You're probably going to take 6-8 weeks to get on site and get organised. 6 months probably to build the 2 houses. That's 9 months nearly, and then I always allow same time again to sell. I mean, they might well sell within 3 months, and which is great. It's a bonus, but I always allow 18 months. On a small scale, and a bigger job I always allow 2 years.
I presume you're comfortable with us putting in any money that's required to get the deal done after senior debt lending. So you've said 127,000, but if we can fund some of that with the senior debt, you just want to get the deal done, don't you?
Yeah, basically.
So it doesn't have to be that much. If you get more senior debt lending, which I think you can, I think you should probably only need 30-40% of the 80 grand, maybe.
I think you need more than that.
Think. What do you reckon, John?
I would say if you pay cash for the purchase of the site,
and then fund the development.
Then the development will be funded by a bank. Yeah.
Good point.
That's how I would look at it. But
so 80
I haven't made my offer yet. I actually think you've had a very good offer from Paul, and I think he's got a connection in Dublin. For me, it's a little bit small. I love Ireland. That doesn't sound good, does it?
We know you do, John. That's why you sneak off early
I
to watch
don't
the
watch
repeat.
it. I don't actually watch. I'd watch the Australian Love Island if Paul was in it, but I don't. I don't. If Paul was in the Australian version of Love Island, I'd watch it to support him. But
It's a bit of a weird thing to say, isn't it?
So basically, you're saying you'd like to.
We'll stick together.
So
Hopefully.
you say you'd like to watch Paul in his speedos?
Yeah.
No, I
that's what I
didn't
was
say
thinking.
that. I didn't
That
say
because
that.
they all wear
I'm
Speedos on
hoping
there.
you win the show. That's what I mean. I said I like Ireland, and I'm keen to do some deals there if I can. And I've been looking in Ireland for many years to try and do something, and I found it very difficult to find deals, to be honest with you, even though a friend of mine lives in Uachtarard, near Galway. So for me, it's a bit small, and I think you've got a very good offer from Paul, and you may well get others. So I will step back from this one.
Thanks.
But well done.
Thanks.
Do you know what the land would be worth with the planning?
I'd imagine it'll go up a bit more. I'm not sure what it'd be worth for planning.
Okay. Good. To be honest, I don't want to manage a first-time developer, in all honesty, particularly given that I'm not UK based, although I am based in euros, so I wouldn't have the FX exposure. So that's
And
that's
also you've
that.
got the tax benefit.
But I'd be looking to, like, that's why I'm asking about flipping it once you get the planning permission then. Have you had planning advice on it? You got any consultants?
No, I was just talking to the estate agent about the planning.
Okay. I will be keen to watch how this develops. I'm not going to make an offer on this occasion, but you've got a great offer on the table from Paul, and
You might get one from Nicholas yet.
oh,
He's looking a bit. He's looking a bit lively.
I didn't know he was still in.
50
Oh, I
eyes.
thought
He's
he
looking a
was.
bit lively.
Oh,
You're in a
okay.
win-win situation now, Chris,
Oh.
as you know. So
I do love it. I think it's brilliant. I think it's a brilliant little site. It seems too good to be true, too easy. That maybe from our perspective, maybe doesn't look like that from your side, but you found it, you believe in the site.
Exactly.
I think that's brilliant. I'm going to step back from this one purely because I think Paul would be your perfect partner.
yeah, I think he would as well.
He's got the Irish connections. I don't have that expertise, so I don't feel I could add any value to this. I could give you some tips, but my contacts probably wouldn't go to Ireland either. So I wouldn't want to burden you with a deal with me when there's a better angel on the team. So I won't be investing, but good luck.
Thanks anyway.
You've got an offer. Would you like to accept it from
Absolutely, yeah.
Paul? Congratulations. Well done, Paul.
Thanks very much, Paul.
Well done.
Yeah.
Super.
So, Chris, did we get our first Irish deal?
We did.
Amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
So tell me what happened when you went into the room.
They were fairly impressed with me pitch, and you know, for whatever reasons, you just didn't want to go with it, but Paul agreed. So
Paul did?
yeah,
So you took it?
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Amazing. What was the deal? What's
It's
it split?
a 50-50 split.
Is it?
Yeah.
Great. So what are the next steps for you now?
He's going to contact me in the next few days.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Probably head over, see the site.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll go and ring the vendor about the site.
Brilliant. Well, congratulations. I hope you're really, really happy.
Brilliant, I am.
And thanks for coming to join us
No
today.
problem.
You displayed all those local connections and all of that, but you did it in an Australian accent. I was expecting you to kind of switch.
I actually had an Irish accent until I was 5 because my parents were Irish, so I had an Irish accent until I went to school.
I was
He's a
doing
nut
everything
again.
I could to
Decent.
get Helen to offer on that.
You know,
Do you know what? If, in terms of like just a flipping it on
Yeah.
deal, I'm really
Yeah.
interested.
you don't want to be
But
involved
I don't
in
wanna
all
be-
that.
yeah.
It's too much work.
Too
for
much hassle
too
when
little
you're sat
return,
in
isn't
handling it. But
sat in your
and
island
you can
retreat.
see that he wants to get his foot on the ladder
Yeah,
in
he
terms of
does.
building his first project out. So if his heart's set on that,
Yeah.
I don't want to break his heart. So
John, welcome to Property Elevator.
Thank you for having me.
Where have you travelled from today?
Perfectly in Essex.
Okay, so not too far.
No.
Is your site located there as well?
It is. It's located in Brentwood, Essex,
Mhm.
200 metres from the main train station.
Okay, so really convenient, really
Yeah.
good transport links.
Definitely.
Tell us a little bit about the site then.
So it's comprising of 3 buildings, 2 ground floor retail units with
Mhm.
uppers, and the
Mhm.
3rd building, which is an office block with 3 floors, which has the potential to be converted for residential use.
Wow, so quite a big site.
Yes, yeah, a lot of development potential.
Yeah. Is that something you've got experience in, or is it quite a new project for you?
No, it's really new for me. In
Right.
fact, this would be my first potential development.
Yeah.
I am a landlord
Yeah.
and have been for 6 years.
Okay.
But this is my first opportunity to take my portfolio to the next level.
Amazing. And then hopefully with some mentorship behind you
Definitely.
as well as back in.
I wouldn't be able to do it without some guidance from the angels.
Yeah. So how much are you looking for then as an investment?
An estimated figure of 4.5 million.
So a big deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good luck. I'll chat to you when you get out. My fingers are crossed for you.
Brilliant. Thanks so much.
John, thank you very much for coming in today. A deal in Brentwood, quite close to where I live, which could be good news for you. Maybe bad news for the other angels, we'll see. Please tell us about a bit about yourself and a bit about the deal that you brought today, please.
My occupation before was in financial markets, so I have experience as an equity trader, also working on market data platforms and data. When March last year came around and COVID struck, I was put on furlough, and I took the time to do some self-education, reevaluate my portfolio, realise the mistakes I made, and look to scale up and take property on full time. This project I identified in Brentwood is 200 metres from the main train line station. It is comprising of 3 buildings, the largest of which is a 2-storey office block, which is currently empty, which has the potential to be converted into residential use. The 2 neighbouring buildings have ground floor retail spaces, which are currently occupied. One's a tanning shop and one is a hairdresser's. And it has 4 one-bedroom apartments sitting above it. Fully rented, it was producing 160,000 per annum. The site itself is unencumbered, and the sellers are motivated to sell in the sense that they are looking to get the cash return and avoid paying inheritance tax.
You've got 4 different sales values that contribute to 4 different potential GDVs. What's the reality? You know, I understand for the reason for the range, but is it realistic? Is it expected? You know, what would you actually sell these for?
I would value these properties no lower than what I've set as the realistic figures. We don't know what the forecast of the future can be, so it's best to be transparent about those potential dips. But the potential of this project, I would set my expectations to be between 4.7 and 6.1 million GDV.
Okay. And you said that your background is mostly sort of as a landlord. Have you done anything like this before?
So this is the first project which I hope to take on and grow my portfolio.
And just with your costs, where have you got the costs from?
My pack says 2 independent builders, but I'm actually happy to say that at 10:30 this morning I got a third come back to me. These are all informal quotes. They weren't able to attend on site with me, unfortunately. First builder was able to give an indicative quote of 60,000 per unit, which was applying to the residential conversion. The consultant which I'm working with verified this cost as well. These are all done to a high standard, of course. The third builders who came back to me today put a range for the entire site to be done between 80 and 1.2 million as well. The builders which have come back to me have all verified a range of which I calculated to be the correct cost for building.
The 9 flats, do you know what configuration, what mix?
The proposal from the original application was for 6 2-beds and 3 1-beds. However, my consultant has advised that the layouts were improportionate and they could have been scaled a lot better. So he's been able to draw a provisional floor plan which actually gives us 9 2-bedroom apartments.
And I guess what you're talking about with your consultant is going in under permitted development instead of planning to get those 9?
Correct.
Okay, that's fine.
Why only 9 on that size of site? 9 would be under the Section 106 payments for full planning. Given there was a full planning before, it feels like that needs to be another full planning app for a reason that perhaps you don't know yet. Is it in an Article 4 direction area or anything like that?
There's no Article 4 in this particular area.
So it's definitely got PD rights?
Yes, and the consultant has verified that under PD this could be possible.
Do you know how many square foot that office building is?
5,600, give or take.
It's
525 metres squared.
And how did you actually source the site?
Quite simply, I went on to Rightmove and looked for commercial properties within an hour of where I live and tried to look for properties that had the scope, development potential, and I quite like the idea that the retail and uppers was available.
Congratulations on the pack. I thought it was very good, very professional, so well done.
Thank you.
I'm slightly annoyed that I haven't picked this deal up myself and you've managed to do it. So that's a slight embarrassment on my side because this is just the sort of thing, just the sort of deal we buy. which could be good news for you today if the figures stack up. And Helen is the expert on the figures.
I've been preparing for Helen.
Well done. You've done the right thing.
Well, you have words like return on cost and return on GDV in your pack. So
Yes. I may have done some research on the show before coming on.
Very good. Very sensible. I like you even more.
Get a round of
Surprised
applause
that
for
not
that.
many people do.
Yeah,
You would be
exactly.
surprised. No, you said kind of 800 to 1.2-ish on the total build cost, and that's been verified by 3 builders.
If I could interrupt, sorry, the 800 1.2 came from the builder this morning, and so that's one independent quote.
Yeah.
However, based on the consultant and another builder, we're really putting those costs at more so 960,000 for the units to be built.
Yeah.
And then factoring contingencies, professional services, utilities, stamp duty, seal charges, etc. on top of that. So the numbers which are in the pack, I would put to you as the correct numbers to use.
Yeah, and your contingency, I've never seen a contingency as high as 20%. Normally it's too low, but you've got it in as 20%, and that's more or less the same as the total build cost that you've got. So that sounds like a big contingency to me, which I don't think I've ever said to any developer ever before in my life. So kind of talk me through that one.
I wanted to bring to you a project where I could under-promise and over-deliver. So you'll notice other pieces of information whereby perhaps I've included full rate of stamp duty. My consultant has advised me that the stamp duty I have in the pack is based on a indicative purchase price of 2.3, but he said that you wouldn't pay that full amount of stamp duty because of the mixed use element of the site, as well as the seal charge. I've done a 2/3 of the square footage from the office building, because we're not going to be adding square footage, we're going to be using existing elevation under permitted development rights. I have actually withheld from putting forward an offer before coming to you guys, because I felt as if I could pitch to you the project so you understood what potentially you'd be getting involved with, you could best advise on negotiations.
So you've got 20% for contingencies, which is far too much. So that means 10% is plenty.
The figure for contingency is 888,000, but the bill costs only 920,000.
No, that's
So there is 920 based on per unit, and then adding on all of those additional costs, so the professional services, so etc., and then it's 20% on top of those total costs.
Okay, I think you've been a little bit overzealous on that one, for me,
Yeah.
because it should be 10% on the bill costs.
I wanted to put forward to you a project which showed a sufficient margin with the opportunity to scale.
I understand that, John. But you could have sort of got this deal, what I call deal fit. You could have just sharpened up a little bit on a number of these figures and so on. I personally don't. I know Helen does, but I don't like 3 different prices and all this business. I want to know what you can sell the damn things for.
Yep.
In a market. I want them sold within. I ask any agent that when they go on the market, they need to be sold within 28 days. And then you get a serious price from the agent, a valuation from the agent, what they can sell them for. The GDV on the whole scheme is what?
Realistic, we've got a 5.7. However, I'm expecting it to be 6.1.
Christ, there's a hell of a difference.
Yes, again, it's about setting a expectation whereby I can give you a project which will produce money based on a realistic GDV, but knowing that there is potential to go further and produce more profit.
I don't need all that. What I need is a figure from you now, please, of what you think what the GDV is going to be, bearing in mind 28 days to sell a flat when it goes on the market. So what do you think that figure will be?
6.1.
6.1. And on that basis, what's the net profit after all costs?
Gross profit set to just under 1.5 million. You'll have to forgive me for not knowing the net profit on that.
Have you given any consideration to the VAT treatment? Because I can see in here one of the tenants in the offices were paying a rent of 36k plus VAT, which means the building is elected for VAT. So you'd either have to bring it out of VAT at the time of purchase, which may be difficult if it's elected for VAT as a whole unit, including the shops at the front.
Yeah, VAT on top.
So in other words, there's an issue of basically adding VAT to the purchase price potentially, although you will be able to claim it back several months later, but that's a little bit of a cash flow hit that has to be taken into account.
It is not something that I've taken into consideration.
That's understandable, John. It's understandable. Ranjan, you make a really, really good point there.
I try to now and then.
You do. You do, well, regularly.
Just for folks
it's
out
really
there
important.
watching, I mean, you can get VAT bridging,
Yeah.
but it's another cost that needs to be factored
And it's
in.
expensive.
Yeah, it is.
And on this one, wouldn't it be worth just buying the office side in another SPV, de-electing that for VAT on purchase, and then just paying the VAT because it's owed on the commercial?
Yeah, but you still need to get permission off the vendor, and if the vendor can't sign the document, whatever it is that allows you to do so, on a deal like this, you know, it's a lot of money to find extra.
Assume the worst.
And it's either cash or you're borrowing it at 20% or something crazy for 3 months. So either way, it's not clever.
In fairness to John, though, he's got it in there as a 20% contingency.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not the right contingency, is it? Because that's a long-term contingency. This is 3 months. So it's not... Listen, John, if we work together, I can get round that for you.
I mean, the good news for you is that your contingency, we've been talking percentages, but the actual figure is almost the same as the build cost. So you've done a presumably 20% contingency on what, the GDV or the total GDC, the total costs? What's that percentage of?
The 20% has been based on cost.
The good news is that that's far too high.
Yeah.
So that makes the deal even better.
Like I said, I've never seen that ever before, which is a good thing.
That comes from experience in the smaller units that I work with. Maybe I've applied that to this and not took into consideration.
I think the difference is on something like this, John, you'll be working with a decent sized builder. I always think you should work with a builder who's got 4 times the turnover a year that you're asking them work to do, if you get my meaning. So if this is £1 million to do, you're looking for a builder who's got a 4 million turnover, in my view. That way, you know they're big enough to cope with it. If there's a problem and they get the price wrong, they've still got enough cash flow and money to suffer it if they get it wrong, if they get the fixed price wrong. And really you need to, you know, the first thing is do a schedule of works.
The office is great, I get that. It's the plan for the existing retail bit. Now you mentioned that you've had some advice about extending it and converting that extended part into residential. You can't do that under PD. The PD is for commercial to residential conversion, meaning converting existing space to residential, not creating new space and converting it to residential. So what you will be able to do with the retail and uppers is confined to that existing building envelope.
Okay.
You can extend it and make bigger shops under PD, but you can't subsequently convert them to residential.
When you say extending, are you referring to only the retail space coming back?
Planning to extend the building envelope in that building and then convert some of that to residential.
The first and second floor will be residential, yes.
The first and second floor is already residential. It's rented
And you'll
out
be
to the
increasing
housing.
the footprint there to accommodate for additional 2 flats per level.
Ah,
So if you're increasing the footprint, then that's a full planning application as opposed to PD.
Which we're prepared to do.
Okay.
920,000 to convert 5,600 square foot of office is probably about right for that. But if you're talking about building an extension with 2 flats, extra stories, and refurbishing the existing flats, I think that is quite substantially light by £300,000 or £400,000, I would say.
what I like about a deal like this is that there's two elements to it.
Yes.
So I'd pick up the phone to a friend of mine, if it were mine, and I'd sell the 4 flats and the shops. I'd bang them off the same day as I pay for the whole thing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't bother with it, and I would concentrate on the rest of it. Now, there's lots of ways of doing a deal like this. There's lots of options, depending when you want to keep it or you don't want to keep it, and that is your preference. But for me, I would be very interested in doing the deal if you're prepared to sell the 4 flats and the 2 shops quickly, leaving us with the 9 flats to convert. Is that something you would consider if the figures are right?
Whilst speaking to the sellers, they're actually currently trying to sell the retail and the uppers to an existing tenant.
Great.
But due to them being slow, shall we say, to get to completion, it's led to them bringing the entire site back to market because they'd rather sell the lot. But to answer your question, you potentially have a seller to go to straight away.
What's the split in price between the office building and the shops and the flats?
The conversation has only been around the entire lot, and again, I haven't put forward a purchase price proposal.
Okay.
So
as I see this deal, is that it needs tidying up. Okay. Looks to me like there's about 1.4 million profit in it, give it or take. So I would like to make you an offer. and my offer is to fund the whole project and to share the profit with you, give you 35% of the profit. So we'll pay all the costs, we'll get the deal done, we'll prove cash funds and all the rest of it to the vendor so they know they're dealing with someone who knows what they're doing. That would be my offer. Now, see what the others want to do.
Thank you, John.
Have you considered any other layouts for the office?
I have considered other layouts, but I didn't want to give you a pack 3 times as large.
And John, the facts are the square footage is the square footage. It's not growing, Nicholas. It's the same footage. Whatever you do with it, it's the same footage.
Have you had any consultants' views on the car parking?
Within Brentwood Council's housing strategy, I believe it's quoted as saying that there is expected 1 parking space per single bed and 2 for every 2. But because of the close proximity to the train station, there is some forgiveness in that.
Possibly is maximised already, I think.
Yeah. The consultant I've been working on has suggested on various ways of which we can improve the existing layout. You may not be able to see it in the images, but behind those first row of cars there's a very small brick wall, and the cars which are parked behind that come in from the far left, and it's a very slightly raised area. Again, maybe somebody professional could come in and structure that a bit better to accommodate those flats from the office.
I don't think I'd be able to offer any more than what John has already offered, and I think it's probably more up your alley, to be honest.
Well, it's quite local to me.
Yeah, I think
you live in Australia, so it's a bit of a problem.
You know, to be perfectly honest, I think you'd probably be a better partner for John on this. So, I'll leave it as it is.
Thank you.
Like the pack is, that there's so much detail in there, kind of almost too much detail for John, not for me, but a lot of detail. So that is super. I guess my concern is what you've done before like this, and I don't think you've done much like this. This would be your first kind of major project?
That's correct. I will be transparent and say that this project is much larger than my current residential portfolio.
Don't worry, we're going to do it together, John.
Well, I've got no fear in the project. In fact, I'm very confident that it'll be a success.
And how would you go about kind of identifying a builder to work with? Because again, all these things are great in theory, but that's where you can lose a lot of margin, shall we call it?
The builders which come back to me today are one option. If I was going to use the consultant's advice and the other builder, I would want them to come on site, do a full evaluation and potentially bring in a fourth. And if you guys come into the table, then I would lean to you to offer your services and professional guidance.
How are you going to keep an eye on costs, basically? How are you going to keep them honest?
It is not something that I've took fault on. I mean, with the amount of work that I've put into it already, I wouldn't want to let anything fall apart. So all I would say is that within those costs, I'll be looking to bring a product manager on board as well as other consultants to make sure that the project stayed within budget and on time.
And you'd be working on this full time?
Well, ideally, I'd like to look for more projects and other developments so that I can bring you guys more deals.
Nicholas, are you gonna get off the pot, or
I don't know if Helen's made a decision or not yet.
She's still thinking. It's a woman's prerogative.
I'm indecisive because I do like it. I mean, it's the perfect bricks and mortar building. The concern I have for me is the parking, because I'd like to add more value than potentially they already have. But I think parking is going to restrain anything more there, and I feel that your build costs are going to go up quite a lot.
Yeah, there are some creative ways to enhance the space, but it won't come cheaply.
I think because it's in Brentwood, it's a little bit far for me.
You get a nosebleed.
Yeah, I think for those reasons, it's a bit marginal for what I'd like to do on this kind of scale of PD site. So I won't be investing today, but thank you. It's a great site, and I think you'll do well with it.
Well, thank you.
It's not that far for me either.
It's outside the M25, and you just by 2
It's only
miles.
just
Yeah.
And you don't do anything outside the M25,
Way
Ranjan.
out.
You know you don't.
I do.
You know you don't. And also,
It's about time you did there, isn't it, Ranjan?
and also, there's not enough commercial in it for you. Commercial to residential, commercial to residential, commercial to residential.
Well, what's this
talk
office building?
Well, yeah, fair enough. I was meaning shops, really. You're more of a shop man, aren't you, really?
I think the idea of jettisoning the front part is a good idea.
Was that my idea?
Simultaneously thought.
Very good, very good.
I'm just thinking that with the square footage you've got, I think you can get a little bit more out of it. Because the minimum space is 37. And looking at the way it's configured, I think you can optimise it and get a little bit more out of it. I'm not so worried about the parking either, because I think with the proximity to the station, you should manage to do without. It'll have the right PTAL scores and all of that.
It's the council's decision, though, isn't it?
Well, it's down to
It's a gamble.
you two's decision. Make
Well, you
some
can do
decisions.
106 agreements and all of that, and just say that no one can have a car parking space, basically, which is not so bad if you're doing one-bedroom flats.
Much as I would love to take council's words on pre-app as gospel, having just been caught out by something similar, then I have a little reticence on that. To be honest, I don't think I could offer anything better than John, and I think on this particular deal, I think he's probably a better partner than I would be. But I love what you've done. I love the numbers. I love your ambition for your first project. And yeah, I totally wish you well on this.
I like it. I'm just wondering what to offer you, really.
That's obvious. Offer better than John did.
No, I think John has offered at the right level. So all I'd be prepared to do is match it. But we'd be looking at jettisoning the front part and sticking with the office building and optimising the layout a little bit.
That would obviously decrease the potential return on profit by not adding those additional 4 two-bedroom apartments.
There's a lot of extra building effort in messing around with buildings like that at the back than there is in just converting that existing office space into the flats. It's very, very simple, that.
So, John, you've got 2 offers by the sound of things. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Both at the same level, both giving you a share of 35% of the net profit after all costs. If I can just say, I'm flexible. If we can demonstrate that it's better to do your original idea on the shops and with the flats above, that's fine if it is. Yeah. But I think potentially, if there's a buy for that anyway, you might find that actually by investing less money, we'll make a bigger rate of return. And I think that's the balance that we can decide between us if we're partners.
I understand.
So it's entirely up to you. You've got about a minute in which to decide what you'd like to do. Or have you already made your mind up?
My gut says I'd like to accept your offer, John. And as much as I would like to work with you, Ranjan, I would like to still see the potential opportunity to maximise the project. And if John is prepared to explore that, then I would like to accept your offer, John.
Fantastic.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do well with
Thank
John
you.
as well.
Thank you very much.
So, judging by your celebration as you came out, it looks like you got a deal.
Yep, that's right.
Amazing. Yep. Congratulations. It's like an air high five.
Yep, there you
Woo!
Thank
Who
you.
was it who took it
It was
today?
John who I accepted an offer from.
Must be something in the name.
Must be. There was potentially 5 offers on the table.
Wow.
Paul, Nicholas and Helen politely didn't put one forward because they believed they couldn't offer more than what John could.
Right.
Ranjan matched what John proposed. However, John was prepared to explore the potential of the project, so he became my obvious choice.
Amazing. Wow. So what happened kind of as you went in the room? How were you feeling before your pitch?
Nervous, naturally,
Yeah.
but as soon as I stood in front of the 5 of them, it was tunnel vision, adrenaline, and just prepared for everything they was going to chuck at me, and I had answers for everything that they wanted to know.
Yeah, you can never be too over-prepared, eh?
No, it was really good.
Well, huge congratulations, and
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing how it unfolds for you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
I think that deal is better than he has demonstrated.
Well, he's put 800, almost 900,000 in as contingency.
Crazy.
Contingency is about 200,000.
And the reason I think that is that these types of deals, nearly always you can pay a third of the end value, somewhere just under a third of the end value. And you look at the end value, he's talking 6.1, 6.2 million. He's buying for 2.3. Okay, it's not quite there, but the condition of it, and because it's PD, means it's cheaper to do than normal conversion. So
They are the most conservative numbers I've ever seen, which was highly reassuring.
I mean, I think it needs tidying up, I
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
doesn't it? But
The
the deal
thing
needs tidying up. but
you're right, he's
potentially-
undersold it, because on the first page of his thingy, he's come up with a profit on GDV of 23%. It doesn't sound that exciting, but when you trail through the figures, you see I even think he's overestimated the PD conversion cost, but I was a big fan of jettisoning that front bit. But if you want to deal with that mess, that's
it may
fine.
well be that's what we end up doing, isn't it? But we may end up selling it
Maybe
off
I should
immediately.
have offered that
You
flexibility.
take that 20% on costs contingency and do your 10% on build costs. There's an extra 750 grand in it. So big difference.
Yeah. It just needs sorting out, but I like him. He's got lots of, he's young, ambitious, intelligent.
Yeah.
Came with the figures. Too many
done
for
his
my
research.
too many for my liking. Not enough for you probably. But I just felt that and it's the sort of thing we buy a lot of, and that's the other thing. We're comfortable with it.
Yeah.
We understand it, as you do, Ranjan. And that's why we both bid, probably, wasn't it? And the units weren't small enough for Nicholas.
No, no, they weren't. Not enough of them.
It was too far away. It was too far away.
Well, what can I say? I hope you've loved this series as much as we have. Our angels have flew home and are excited to be getting straight on with their deals in just a few days. We've loved having you with us here at Property Elevator, and we'll see you for the next series.